Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about gold because a lot of our followers ask me, why is gold important today when the US dollar is strong and when in general the perception from investors is that there is ample level of support from central banks for the economy and for markets? Well, there are numerous reasons to continue to be positive about gold, but the first one is to understand that the case for gold starts from emerging market demand. Yes, we in developed economies might believe that the currency that we hold every day is relatively stable. But what we have been seeing for many years, but increasingly, is that the purchasing power of the local currency in many emerging markets is absolutely collapsing. As such, for numerous citizens all over the world, the only possibility for them to hold on to their savings and to keep the purchasing power of their salaries and the value of their savings is actually to hold some gold. They don't have the access to complex financial instruments, and they don't have the ability to differentiate themselves because they see that their central bank is continuing to increase money supply when demand for the domestic currency is falling. As such, emerging market demand for gold is rising, and is rising dramatically. There is a second case for gold. It's central banks themselves. It's interesting to understand that one of the reasons why gold is attractive is precisely because when central banks are increasing their balance sheet and increasing their injections of liquidity in the economy, they're also at the same time trying to build reserves in order to keep their currency relatively stable. And when they increase reserves, what do? They buy gold. As such, it becomes almost funny, but it is actually a reality that central banks, when they increase quantitative easing, actually also increase their purchasing of gold reserves. There is a third reason to remain positive on gold, is that its status as a reserve of value and its status as money is unchallenged. Is that we have centuries of knowing that gold is going to be used for transactions no matter what happens in the economy. Belief in fiat currency might be relatively new. Actually, it is very modern, but belief in gold as a means of payment, as a unit of measure, and as a reserve of value has been going on for centuries and remains so. It is also very important to understand that gold is a decorrelated asset relative to an increasingly correlated equities and increasingly correlated bonds. Because for investors, there are very few actually in financial assets where they can decide to hold and have something that is not going to move in tandem, be it down or up, with equities and with bonds. So it is actually one of the very few safe assets that exist out there. Many followers have also asked me about silver or palladium. Pretty much the same, but we have to at least make a difference, which is that gold's status as reserve of value has been, again, unchallenged for centuries. It's not the same with silver, and certainly not the same with palladium, although it is absolutely true that if you believe in gold as an attractive asset, you also have to like those two. What about cryptocurrencies? Cryptocurrencies are interesting, but they are not competition for gold yet. Why? Because cryptocurrencies fundamentally are start-up currencies. There's nothing bad about that, but we need to understand that the vast majority of them don't have any significance either as means of payment or as reserve of value, and therefore what they need to do is cement their position before they even become contenders to become money. It is true that while central banks are massively increasing injections of liquidity and testing the boundaries of monetary policy, cryptocurrencies, as well as gold, continue to grow a little by little, in the mind of investors as alternatives to fiat currencies. But we need to understand as well that the massive rise of very, very different cryptocurrencies has made them also vulnerable to the reality that ultimately the vast majority of them will disappear, and that only a few of them will be contenders to displace either the national currencies or be an alternative to gold. As such, I think that you still have a pretty strong case for gold out there, and it continues to be something that almost every investor should have in their portfolio. Thank you very much. Thanks for following. Thanks for being here, for enjoying the debate, for joining the debate. Please leave your comments below. Watch the other videos. Check my website and continue to defend freedom. Thank you very much.